Christine McDaniel here, host of the Co-Living Code Show. After living in an incredible co-living concept in San Diego for 2 years, I decided to launch my own concept, Kindred Quarters, in 2017. Then, just 1 year later, partnered with two technologists to launch Kindred, the first software platform and management solution for co-living operations around the world. On any given day, I get to have really great conversations with the leaders of this new sector of real estate and figured it would be even better to bring you guys along for the ride. On this show, we bring on the founders and CEOs of the most amazing co-living concepts from around the world. We also bring on the real estate investors and developers. These are the innovators, experts, and leaders from around the world that are passionate about co-living. Let's jump right into today's episode. As principal of PMG, Property Markets Group, Chicago's office, Noah Gottlieb is primarily responsible for deal procurement and day-to-day operations of PMG's multifamily division. Noah spends significant time sourcing and screening capital partners and opportunistic investments. Prior to joining PMG, Noah was a vice president for Boulder Net Lease Funds, where he directed the acquisition efforts on net lease properties throughout the United States and managed two investment funds. Noah's residential real estate expertise stems from his career at Richmond American Homes, where he was a land acquisition and development manager. Born and raised on Long Island, New York, Noah attended Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, and graduated with a Bachelors of Science degree in economics. Noah also volunteers with the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. Thresholds, a provider of mental health services where he sits on the real estate committee, and the Dovetail Project, an initiative designed to help at-risk adolescent fathers. Excited to bring Noah on the show today to talk about the success they've had with X Social communities. Enjoy the show. It is Christine McDaniel here with the Co-Living Code Show, where I get to interview the leaders in the co-living space around the world, mostly principals, founders, investors, developers, anybody that's really deep into co-living. I get to talk to them each week. I bring you guys along for the ride. Really excited today because we do have Noah, and he is with PMG, which you guys know I've mentioned PMG a lot on the show because they are the largest player in the States. And they were the ones that announced, which most of you remember, that they were committing $1 billion to co-living. They announced that late last year in 2018. They're building the X Social communities, and Noah is actually the CEO of that division of PMG. And we're going to go into deep talking about the rent by the room concept that they've just really, their product is amazing. They have properties in some of the main cities in the US. So welcome to the show, Noah. We would love to hear more about, what you guys are up to with the Social X communities. So you can launch right into it.
Thank you very much for having me. Excited to be here and to talk with you about what we're doing around the country. I think what's really important for us is to become the first branded apartment community in the residential living environment in the United States. I think we really focus on thinking about our tenants as our customers and our members, and trying to provide home as a service in a best-in-class vertical living environment. We are doing things at a scale and pace that's a little bit different than other people. We are, our background is real estate developers first. We're not an operating company. We have a management division, but we're not set up to manage other people's properties right now. We're organically growing our brand and our product by building luxury Class A apartment buildings that are the prettiest picture you can imagine, with best-in-class living environments in every major city of the United States. And so our goal really is to be in 30 different cities in the next 36 months. And we're about a third of our way through our goal. And like you talked about the announcement about, $1 billion portfolio, I just want to be clear that that's money that's already spent, right? That's in projects that are under construction right now. That is not a theoretical amount of money or time or investment that we're making in the product type. That's real committed capital that's putting into bricks in Denver, in Oakland, in Miami, in Fort Lauderdale, in Orlando, and all the other places that you may have heard of.
Awesome. And how many units do you guys have up and running? Just specific, I know PMG is huge. So maybe tell us, PMG and then just the X Social communities, how many units total for each?
Yes. So we have 3 buildings that are operational right now. Those 3 buildings combine to about 1,000 units or 1,500 beds. And then the other properties that are under construction right now total about 5,000 units or about 10,000 beds. And then we are under contract or really starting a few other projects that'll double that amount in 2019.
Okay, so it sounds like you guys all have 10,000 beds in operation within how many years?
Yeah, if we stopped and did nothing tomorrow, we'd have 10,000 beds across the United States realistically by 2021.
Nice. Okay, and then are you guys going to ever expand abroad, or are you guys staying in the States?
We'd like to. I think there's so much opportunity for us to put a flag and become the best brand in the residential environment in the United States that we need to do that first, and then potentially partner or develop international.
And then what was it, the Miami property that you guys started with? Which one was your first?
The first 2 were in Chicago, and then the last one that opened was Miami. And as these things go, the Chicago projects were version 1.0, and now we're on 2.0. And again, our projects tend to be the $150 million cost for each project in the A locations in the urban cores of the markets in which we do business.
And then you guys are building ground up on every project, right?
And we're building ground up. We think it's really important in this space to have a blank canvas in which to create your unit modules, right? If you convert other spaces or you try to convert an existing apartment building, it's really difficult to deliver the value to your customer first that you're ostensibly asking, right? So one of the ways in which our product is different than some of the other people in the universe is that we are very focused on a 1-to-1 bed to bath ratio, right? And we're very focused on closet space. People have displayed a willingness to share a living room and a kitchen, but if you want to attract a more established older demographic of people, which is where we think the real opportunity is here, they don't want to share a bathroom, right? And so ensuite bathroom, real closet space so that you don't have to throw away half of your belongings when you move in, is something that allows us to appeal to the 25 to 40-year-old renter instead of just the 22-year-old person. And we think that's really important to create a healthy, diverse demographic in all of our buildings.
And then when you said, so you guys did, it was 1.0, you guys probably had some lessons learned. Now you're at 2.0. What were some changes that you guys made when making that jump?
The bed to bath ratio was for sure number one. And then honestly, keeping the bathrooms in suite is equally as important, right? So that I don't have to walk into a hallway to go to the bathroom is a pretty critical component of privacy. And then really outside the building, I think outside the unit is really important as well. And that's evolved over time. When people talk about co-living or renting by the bedroom, everybody tends to focus on what's happening behind the door of the unit itself. But equally, if not more important, is everything else that's happening inside the building. And sort of the breaking down of the barriers between traditionally private spaces to become public spaces. People in the apartment community talk about programming in the context of their population of humans, right? Whoever's living in their building is who they are programming for. If they do a yoga class, if they do a wine tasting, traditionally it's exclusively for members of your building. Well, our buildings are large, right? They're some of the largest buildings in our marketplaces. But if you do some rough math, even if you have a building of 700 people, when you have a wine tasting, it's unrealistic to expect more than 5% of your tenants to show up, right? In the best case scenario, if you give away free booze, only 5% are going to show up. And if you only have an event that has 5% of people showing up or 30 people, that's a very different social connectivity than if you have 300. And so if you want to have events that have 300 people, because those events are the vibrant ones, those are the events that really facilitate community engagement and interaction, you need to invite the public into traditional private spaces because you just can't rely on your existing tenants, right? There's just not enough of them, right? To really create that environment that is energetic, that is fresh, because also you tend to get the same 35 people at every event, right? And so, if I want to meet a new friend, if I want to have an interesting conversation about how to fund my tech startup with a new entrepreneur, I can't rely on the only other 3 entrepreneurs who currently live in the building, right? I need to bring the greater young leaders of Miami into our space to host a conversation about how to do that. And so we're really focused on, again, backpedaling a little bit, but creating spaces that are event gathering locations, right? That can host 300, 400, 500 people events every single week, right? So that we're fundamentally changing the activity and the amount of people who are coming into our space.
That is awesome. Okay, I love hearing that. So then you guys, do you guys put it on Meetup? Do you put it on Facebook events? Like, how do you guys push it to the public to bring that community in?
All of the above, right?
Okay.
And a lot of it is we have dedicated personnel both at the corporate level and at the property level whose sole job it is to facilitate those sort of things. And so one of the things and one of the ways in which we think we're being good community members is we want to be known as the place where nonprofit organizations can host their annual galas and events, right? We want to work with the AIDS Foundation of Chicago. We want to work with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, right? And so instead of spending $10,000 to rent out an esoteric Hilton ballroom, right? Come do it outside on our pool deck, right? We'll give you our space for free. It's great for us. It's great for you. You can have a best-in-class party, right? For free, right? And you're the one who also carries the message, right? It's the burden of spreading that message is not on us, right? All we ask is that you allow our members to attend, but really you're doing this anyway. You have your built-in network of people. Just bring them to our space. And it's a win-win for us. It's a win-win for the organizations. And most importantly, it's a win for our members because they're able to participate in these amazing, unique things that are varied and different all the time.
And I'm so glad, Noah, that we dove straight into community building. Okay, because I'm sure there's this, co-living is trying to grab its feet. There's actual homes, and that they're co-living because they're all under one roof, and it's really integrated. And then it's multi-unit. These huge complexes, 300, 500 units that are just kind of throwing on the word co-living, but there's no community attached to it, which I know you're laughing because you probably already know some of them. So that's why I'm excited, because people listening, there are some that are still like, well, gosh, there's such a big property and how can they be called co-living? So I'm glad you dove right in without me even prompting you on the community aspect. Because I always tell people, like, I'm an advocate for all types as long as it's fostering community. Like that's what I believe co-living is. It could be a huge complex, but they need to facilitate that interaction in that community, that sense of community. So yeah, thank you for diving into that. And then back to the units, just so people can kind of get a visual. Okay, so let's use one of your maybe the larger Chicago property. How many units are there in the building?
So the Miami property is probably the best example of what's closest to what we believe are iterations to come. There's 460 units. That building will have a population of around 700 people. And again, that's where we're doing the Daybreaker party, where next week, people from the greater Miami area will be invited onto our amenity deck, and people will be wearing costumes and, have a Daybreaker party on our pool space. And I think, we're very careful in the way that we speak about the verbiage around the space, right? So like we say rent by the bedroom more than we say co-living, right? The name of our brand is X Social Communities. It's not a co-living platform. It's a social community platform. And when we think about community, we really think about how our buildings interact with the larger cities, right? It's obviously very important for us to facilitate engagement amongst our members within our building. But over time, our place within the city will be determined by how well we interact and integrate with the fabric of the urban places in which we're doing business. And then within each of the buildings, sorry to give you a direct answer to your simple question, we are building a portion of our buildings with rent by the bedroom modules. We are building a portion of our building with fully furnished studios and one-bedroom apartments. And so our buildings are not designed to be 100% rented by the bedroom. We believe that it's very important to have a diverse product mix as well for people to be able to graduate from within our building. And so you may become a member of X Social Communities by renting a bedroom suite. But if we do a good job of our community building and you meet a significant other and all of a sudden you need a bigger space or some private space, if we do a good job at customer service, I don't want you to have to move out of our building because you need a different home, right? And so it's important for us as we go to Denver, as we go to Phoenix, right, to be able to have a product offering that can sustain over time amongst our demographic of people who love our building and want to stay in our building, but maybe they need a walk-in closet because their previous situation is a little too small.
And so your rent by the bedroom, are those typically like 3-bedroom, 3-bath apartment units inside the building?
It's 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, and 4-bedroom, 4-bath.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then the price.
And important within that too is that not all bedrooms are created equal, right? And so some of them are unbelievably large with, 80 square foot walk-in closets and a tub and a shower, but a bedroom suite. And some of them are smaller, and that allows us to price in the rent by the bedroom space in each of the market with some variety as well. And so it's not a single product offering even within the bedroom suite. You may want more friends in your co-living situation, so you prefer a 4-bedroom unit, or you may have made a friend in the 4-bedroom unit, and when it comes time to renew your lease, you guys decide to take a 2-bedroom unit together.
Awesome. What year did you guys start developing this like housing as a service, rent by the bedroom? Which year? I'm trying to remember what year you guys started.
So we started with the concept really in 2013, and we broke ground on our first project in 2014.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So again, you guys are definitely cutting edge. Like the product is beautiful. I haven't been to one physically yet, but definitely I've seen all your videos and pictures and I've heard from people that have lived there. So being cutting edge, you guys are cutting edge on the actual product and integrating into the cities. What, as far as technology, like do you guys have smart apartments? Do you guys have apps that help them facilitate different things like paying their rent, communicating with each other?
All of the above, right?
Okay.
The technology interface, the app, we do have a proprietary app. We put that all under the user experience umbrella, right? And the user experience of technology within our building just needs to facilitate the home as a service concept, right? And so we don't have keys, we don't have fobs. Everybody is able to use our app to access control and get into their unit doors. If you're coming to visit me and you're my sister, I can send you an electronic key via our proprietary app that allows you to get into the building so that I don't need to come home from work and let you in. If you have a dog walker, I can send a unique secure credential to the dog walker that has a fixed expiration date so that I don't have strangers having keys, right? The electronic access component of the technology is very important to create safe, secure environments for our members, which everybody values, and to provide the user experience we're looking for. And what we're really excited about as it relates to technology is over the course of time, as we build out our portfolio of properties, the value proposition for our members will extend past a physical address or even a physical city. So if I live in an X Social community building in Miami and I go to work in New York, I can use our technology to book one of our guest suites. I can use our technology to sign up for the exercise class. I can use our technology in our app to see what events are happening the weekend in which I'm there. And I can participate in all of those things for free. And if I go to Denver, I can do the same thing. If I go to Phoenix, I can do the same thing. If I go to Oakland, I can do the same thing. And that brand consistency and ease of use, we think will really change our value proposition over time if in 2021, somebody is walking around Chicago and they go to 5 apartment buildings, right? But one of those 5 offers everything I just described. We think that gives us the ability to really win over time amongst that population of people who really appreciate the user experience that is integrated into the leasing experience itself, right? They don't just get it once they move in. It's part of the sales pitch when they show up.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. No, I worked for the Irvine company back in the early 2000s. So my background's in property management. So it's just exciting to see. You're exactly right. Like how easy and seamless, and nowadays you already know people are jumping, from major city to major city. And you guys are just making it so much easier for them. You guys do have a 12-month lease, but do you guys, minimum, I know that, right? But do you guys let them jump? Like if they had to switch, would you guys let them out of their lease if they had to switch cities and stayed within your portfolio?
Yeah, for sure. I think all of those things will evolve over time, but the idea is that everybody benefits, right? And so the easier it can be to become our customer, and then the easier it is to stay our customer, we're super focused on creating a technology and app user experience that allows us to win over time. That idea.
Cool. And is there anything else they can control from the app inside the apartment, inside the units, like temperature, thermostat, anything like that?
Yes. So
Okay.
you have the ability to control your thermostat. We're not really big believers in investing in technology hardware, right?
Okay.
We don't invest in smart lights as an example. We don't really think that's a real value add. But yes, I'd love to be able to make it hotter and cooler when I'm laying in bed. I want to be able to see what the temperature is in my unit when I'm not there. You get information on what's happening inside the building if you have a package or dry cleaning through our app as an example. The events calendar and what's happening lives on the app. You can send a invite to your friend to come join me at the cycling class with a registration option for them that triggers their ability to download a guest key that you have to approve all through the app, right? And so it's that side of the user experience that we're pretty focused on. We're not making major investments in smart fridges or anything like that, except for the hardware on the unit doors and on the bedroom doors that allows for all of that access control.
The keyless access. No, that's awesome. So I'm sure you've got your hands full. You guys are rapidly growing. We all love watching it. What's a typical day for you like? I mean, you're in New York right now. Are you mainly based out of New York or Chicago?
The typical day is atypical for me. Yeah. So I'm on the road like 80% of the time. My role within the company is really business development. That takes the form of, acquisitions, capital raising, and then operationally growing and expanding our platform and our presence in the marketplace. And so, yeah, I'm in New York today. I'm flying back to Chicago tonight. I'm going to Amsterdam on Tuesday. And so,
well, that's where I'm at. Send me a note. I'm living in Amsterdam for 3 months. So yeah, maybe we'll connect when you're out here, if you have time. That must be, so you guys aren't expanding to Europe yet, but yeah, nice. Well, definitely. That's awesome. How funny. Okay, awesome. So a couple more quick questions. So, actually my last question, which I love asking everybody, is where do you see the future? And again, you guys saw it kind of before anybody else, just how living was switching, the rent by the room and just housing as a service and providing community. Where do you guys see this model going in the near future in the next 5-10 years?
Our vision and our belief is that we're not creating a niche product type, right? And our product is designed that way. We're not creating a niche product type. We think we're building a version of a home as a service that can cannibalize on the existing apartment marketplace, not create a new business unit, right? And in that context, we think over time, as people become more familiar with the product offering, what we're doing has the opportunity to be very disruptive, right? And so when people talk about co-living, the first thing they talk about is price, right? But if you just win on price, you can't really be disruptive. If you look at every space, every industry, people have been building things cheaper for a long time, right? You don't disrupt an industry by making things cheaper. You make it cheaper and better, right? And so we think we're building the best-in-class apartments at attainable luxury price points. And in doing so, we have the ability to be very disruptive to an established marketplace.
No, that's great. Everybody loves disruption, right? And especially on such a dated. I mean, real estate is like the last, as you know, it's like the last thing to get disrupted right now. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys are up to and what you're going to do in this near future. And Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say or end with?
No, thank you very much for having the time. If you're not following X Social communities on social media, you really should. I think that is a very good way to keep up with what we're doing to get a better understanding for the spaces itself. You know, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So please do that, and you'll be able to see what we're doing.
Most definitely know it. I have all in the show notes, you guys that are listening and watching. You can easily connect with their, follow them on Instagram. You're right. Your guys' Instagram is awesome. I love seeing it. And we'll have website, all that fun stuff so they can check you out. Thanks again, Noah, so much. And just keep doing what you guys are doing.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out today's episode. If you want to learn more about co-living, you could check out my book on Amazon, The Co-Living Code. And of course, if you're looking for the perfect software to power your co-living concept, check out kindred.io, KNDRD.io. Thanks.